to go through, in a week or so, then you're probably not going to be able to stay in the program because the medical bills were going to be insurmountable, like I was going through it.
Have you experienced firsthand a change in your life due to God? Are you looking for a change in your life? God's Spirit blows wherever it wishes. You hear its sound, but you don't know where it comes from or where it's going. It's the same with everyone who is born of the Spirit. Welcome in.
How far into the year-long program is this?
That's probably around the fourth week.
Okay.
I'm about a month in,
Still
right?
early
Still
on.
fairly early. Yep.
Okay.
Still trying to figure out the
Still
program.
continually being
Yep.
out ahead of you.
Trying to get up every morning at this time to go to these classes, to do these things. And yeah, like it was a mess. It was a real big mess. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? It's not like I have money. So I told God, I said, look, if this is where you want me, then you need to work out this medical stuff by the end of the week, or I'm not going to be able to stay here. And then all this was for nothing, right?
So then what happened by the end of the week?
Next morning when I got up, they came and told me that that stuff had went through, and I actually got my insurance and my stipend. So it was a matter of maybe 12 or 13 hours later.
That is incredible.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, man, after it was all over, when I got out of the program, I thought, man, how dare I, like, you know what I mean? Put God on the spot and say, okay, you know what? Like, if you're everything they say you are,
Mm-hmm.
and then, yeah, before the deadline I gave, right? Just to prove a point, right? Like,
So you made the year.
I did, I did, and I did make it, yep, after 14 months. So I think April 12th, maybe.
Nothing about this time at this center has been smooth sailing.
Not initially, nope.
No. But despite these obstacles, these bumps in the road, you kept going.
Yep.
And you made it through.
I did. After that incident where I prayed and basically, just put God to the test, I think at that point, like that next day, I remember thinking, okay, right. I don't know what's in this, right? But
So for you, as you said, it felt like you were putting God to the test, or it could have been God was just waiting to hear from you.
yeah, and I've never submitted to nothing in my life. Like that's the last thing that you do, right? Like no matter how bad things get, right? You keep going. You don't submit to the will of another individual, or you don't do that. But I think when I finally did say, okay, you know what? I don't know what's in this. There were some, I seen some pretty powerful things in that time. And, that was over 22 years ago now.
Your will be done.
Yeah, and still is being done.
So this was 22 years.
22 years ago, January 10th of this year, I started my 22nd year sobriety.
22nd year.
That's total abstinence, and that's what I told God. I said, if you want this for me, and if you help carry me, the if yous. So I decided on total abstinence, and yeah.
So how much do you smoke now?
None. I haven't had a cigarette or a drink since I entered that program.
How much? No smoking, no drinking.
No drugs.
22
Yep.
years.
Yeah. It's still there, right? There's still a part of me that, still, it's not that I don't want those things, but God really helped me to understand what's important, what's an important want and what's important need, right? And where those priorities lie. Like I tell my kids all the time, if they have a place to go to bed at night and they're not hungry, to me, then I got everything I need. The world tries to teach something else, but that's the difference, right?
22 years ago, you could have had a year left to live.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't without consequence, right?
Sure.
And I think that God never told me, hey, I'm going to help you get well, and then your life is going to be easy as it ever was. Because if somebody had told me that, and I went through the things I went through and even still go through, I don't know if I'd have stuck with it. And even now, right, like I'm dealing with medical things, but It wasn't because God didn't do something for me, right? Sometimes the consequences of our behavior, they don't happen. But that don't mean that God doesn't sustain me through it, right? And give me the mindset that it's not about what I'm going through, right? Because I technically wouldn't be going through it if I wouldn't have decided. But can I say that, you know, did I plan on turning 50 in August? No. No.
God has really touched your life.
Oh, yeah.
In significant ways. Not, I mean, the obvious 22 years of sobriety is, you can't quantify that.
Nope.
That is huge.
Yeah.
But all the details on that journey that you shared here today, I'm sure there was 3 times that since then.
No, man.
But just in the ones that you told us today, time after time after time, what seemed like impossible situations.
Yeah, odds were out. Yep. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there was no doubt. The thing to do for me early on would have been the easy thing to do, what I was already doing.
Right.
Because my life wasn't hard when I was, you know, I was sick. I can deal with that, right? Like, that's nothing. But try to do the right thing. And it really taught me that the things that you truthfully submit your time and your energy to, right? The reason they're sober 3 years or longer is because they really committed to the idea that life could be something other than, right? I didn't do it because I was trying to get out of jail time, or I didn't do it because, you know what I mean, it was a fashionable thing to do.
Darin, incredible story. If there is one thing that you wanted, that you could pass along and say to someone that was maybe in a similar circumstance as you 22 years ago, what would that be?
It's never too late. I mean, truthfully, it takes a village, but it's never too late. Whether you start with God, whether you start with supports, whether you start with meeting in the community, whatever that is, right? How you get there doesn't matter. It's the fact that you try to do something. Something's always better than nothing.